How's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
Yeah, no complaints.
Good. End scene.
We're done. Everybody, thanks for joining the podcast today. We'll see you on the next time.
Day.
Enjoy that sunset.
Doesn't that feel like what the world's coming to? Like zip, 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 zip.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and there's another one that we'll bring up. It rhymes with artless, and they call it listener. So listener, thank you for joining us today. And that's it. Thanks for coming to our podcast today.
Yeah, I feel like everything's happened so fast and such a 20-second reel or TikTok or...
I've taken a little bit...
Is that the Idaho way to say it? TikTok.
TikTok. Is it crick or creek?
Depends on where you're from.
Well, we call it... Well, my aunt lives in Sellers Creek. But people always say, no, it's Sellers Creek.
You're up a creek. We don't say up a creek. Maybe.
Okay, hold on. Here's one. Do you know what a borrow pit is? Mm-hmm. If I'm like, oh, he ran off into the borrow pit. Mm-hmm. People will look at me like, what? What's a jockey box?
Yeah.
So welcome to Idaho.
Compartment. Depends on where you're from.
Yeah. Well, go look up what a borrow pit is. I'm pretty sure that even though we use that term, what happened? Well, we ran off into the ditch or the creek or the borrow pit. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was a good podcast. Like I said, we had a little bit of Idaho slang.
Well, that's speaking of slang. So we just got back from spring break. Took our daughter on our last hurrah senior trip.
You made that sound like spring break, baby.
No, we
MTV.
We went on a cruise. I love the cruise life. Went to a few places. Went out of New Orleans. And got to learn a couple, like in Belize, what they mean by Creole people, and it's really how they talk and what Creole means.
You can speak
Louisiana.
Creole. Wada.
We learned that by our tour guide. So it was interesting. It was fun. What else memorables?
Well, I think the biggest
to you lately.
Well, the biggest memory I have is I met one of my heroes.
Oh.
Yeah, we're on a bus, and we're in. I think we're in Mexico actually.
Yeah,
we're in Mexico, and we're on the bus, and he's sitting in front of me, and I'm like, man, how do I know that guy? Like, no, a lot of places we go, we tend to know somebody, don't we, Camille? I'm
so unobservant, Cory. I'm like, there was people on the bus besides us.
Yeah, and I'm like, man. So then we go do our thing. We get back on the bus, and we're headed back. It's about a 30-minute ride, would you say?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it dawned on me, and he's wearing a cowboy hat, and I'm like, oh, and I know the brand of the cowboy hat, and I'm like, he's a true cowboy.
Well, I think he was just a row or two in front of us on the way there, and you're like, that's a legit hat. And I think he meant not from he didn't pick that up on the beachside. Yeah, no,
he's not throwing on his cowboy boots and cowboy hat, going to that concert 3 times a year, hitting that bull riding. He's legit. So then he's sitting in front of us, and I said, hey, and he's there with his wife and his kids, and I'm like, you're a true cowboy. And he goes, how do you know? And I go, because I know the brand of your cowboy hat. I have the same brand. And he goes, oh, well, I'm Rob Gann. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And everybody in this podcast might be going, who the heck is Rob Gann? In fact, I think you didn't you, Camille? And I'm like, that's Rob Gann. And you're looking at me like,
most of the time too. Who are you talking about?
Well, Rob Gann is the man in the can. He is a professional rodeo cowboy. I don't know if he's done any NFRs, but he's in that. I think he's in the Southwest circuit, covers Texas, probably Arkansas area. We talked about the circuit that we live in, which is what I think is the best circuit, right? The wilderness circuit. And Camille and I and family have gone to a lot of wilderness circuit rodeos since we were kids. And so I was starstruck so much that he's trying to help his kid get a cell phone back that was lost. And I didn't really care. I'm all about, hey, tell me about you. And
he's like, sir, can I please take care of my business?
So Camille, man in the can. I know you know what that means. What does it mean if you're the man in the can?
So you were the bull right then, and he was trying to I
was the bull, and he wanted to get in the can.
He's like, I got to distract this guy so I can take care of business. Honey.
So he is, what's the man in the can?
Huh?
Do you know the man in the can is, don't you?
Yeah, he jumps in there when the bull's coming at you.
He's those man in the can, those bullfighters.
Distractor.
He's the distractor. So anyway, yeah.
That'd be pretty agile.
Yeah. We should get Rob. We got to get Rob on. He was awesome.
Well, not man, but you've had to jump on the corral fence a few times, and when we've had the
difference between
here.
But the difference between Rob and I is that Rob doesn't poop his pants, and I do. I have no problem getting in the box with a steer or a bull, but it doesn't mean I'm not scared. In fact, it's funny because I always say, why don't you guys all go away for a minute? Because if it gets too many people, it gets distracting. That's really just a distraction so you guys don't see how scared I am.
You like in the corner.
Or the smell.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the memorable experience. Were you thinking of something else?
Speaking of that, yeah. Like, so we go to an animal sanctuary place.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was memorable. I didn't realize we were going here.
That's part of the trip. And so... it's interactive, and they're teaching us about, we're on Honduras, the Roatan Island, and anyway, they're teaching us about the culture there and the animals and those that are native to the island, those that are like in that area, and they have monkeys. I don't know exactly what breed or kind of monkey, the white-faced capuchin, something.
Weird. It was the weird breed.
I can't remember the exact name of those monkeys. They're small, sit on your shoulder, little. I do think they have white face, right? And they're known as being thieves. They'll do anything for like a sunflower seed, including...
They'll pick your pocket.
They'll pick your pocket.
Well, in fact, they made us leave our backpacks, sunglasses, needed to be tight, don't wear a hat, don't have things in your pockets.
Be prepared. The monkey might take it and run up the tree at your own risk.
Watch, So no backpacks, though.
Yeah, they were funny and silly. And they were... entertaining themselves with other people with, like we said, hats and glasses and stuff like that. That people that had extra sunscreen on, they liked that. They liked the smell of those things. So it was over. Cory's kind of standing over in the corner, just being there. And all of a sudden, that monkey jumped over like 3 people and landed right on Cory on his neck.
And I had my back to those people.
Football broad, it came out of nowhere. Football broad shoulders and nice shiny place to land.
Oh, it's that bald head. We know.
It's like a beacon runway. Beep, beep. Like, come land here.
And then he did something with his luggage, by the way.
He made himself very comfortable on Cory, all over, like, filling all the nooks and crannies. And then, as I'm trying to get my camera out to film this, I notice the monkey kind of spreads his little legs a little bit, and this nice stream comes right down. And
my neck,
Cory got beat on by a monkey.
It went between my shirt and my back.
The best thing of the trip.
I don't think I would. Most memorable, sure.
Yeah.
Best, not even close.
Both. Because it didn't happen to me.
Let's go back to the man in the can. Let's go back to Rob. That's the best. No, hanging out with you guys was the best. Hanging out with the family, and it was a good time. It was a large. There was 17 of us, so it was the big family. Yeah, it was fun. We had lots of good times. But I had to choose an R in E plus R equals O, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. But before we do that, just real quick. I know you don't like it when I do these things, but I got to ask a question. It's always fun when you start off that way. Well, I do it every day. So Camille, this is not how you like to start off, but it's because you don't like to talk about yourself. And I love talking about myself. Let's talk about us, though. Okay. So it is April, but in March we did hit a milestone, and that's 1 year of Barn to Boardroom. Crazy. If there's anything that I know we did our 2025 recap in December, January. So this isn't a recap question. What stood out? What's been memorable to you in the past year? At first, of course, wasn't shy about going like, this isn't my space. I don't really want to do this. And I thought, I'll just do it till he can find someone better, someone different. But it's been fun, and so I like doing it. That's what stood out the most. It has completely shocked me, but I think anything that makes you grow and is challenging if you look at it the right way, and that it was hard. When you're like, okay, I'm setting up this stuff, I'd be like, ugh. It's like, here goes the feeding the cows, but actually sometimes I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoy this. I'm talking about the cows. Only when it's cute and there's cute little baby cows and it's spring and it's warm outside, then I enjoy it. When it's winter and snow and you're out of town, I hate it. But I have learned to love doing the podcast, Barn to Boardroom. Well, let me tell you what.
That's surprising.
That's surprising. You've done a great job. This is not surprising to me. I have not learned this, though. I have not learned this, I should say, and it's not surprising. I knew this was going to be the case. First of all, thank you to, so to our one listener, just kidding, we have many, and I think that's probably been a surprise to Camille and I until I looked at Camille and said, no, that's no longer a surprise. We get comments all the time. We run into people we don't even know.
Yeah.
Hey, and by the way, Camille, you sound great. And you do. And
Thanks.
That's not a surprise to me. I knew that was going to be the case. You've done a great job. And I've had the biggest reason I've had fun doing this is because you and I are doing it together.
Yeah,
so
it's fun.
Now that the feel good's out of the way, let's get back to the monkey
Peeing down your back.
getting to know Cory a little bit better in that E plus articles O. So, True Grit Edge and True Grit Edge style, we talk about E plus articles O. And just real quick, we got to give some credit. I learned this concept from Tim Kite and Focus 3 in 2013. And, but, you know, Dr. Robert Resnick originated this equation, and then Jack Canfield, he wrote a book, he brought it forward. So we got to make sure that we understand that it came from Dr. Resnick and Jack Canfield.
Yeah.
And Tim Kite, in Focus 3, and I think Focus 3 still uses it.
But it's an amazing concept.
It's an amazing concept. It's a drop the mic concept. Everybody needs to understand E plus articles O. So in that moment, Camille, I had to make a decision about how I'm going to respond. An event happened. The monkey relieved itself on me. I didn't ask. I didn't say, hey, come over here, land on my head and do your thing.
I'm a perfect place for this to happen.
I am looking forward to this. And I've been waiting for this the whole cruise. Here we are at the moment.
And I don't remember that being in the disclaimer about him picking your pockets, taking things.
Yeah.
I mean, he did after the fact go,
And
oh,
urinating.
he really likes you. He just marked his territory on you. Okay, that was not in the brochure.
No. But
in life, we get
really,
things we don't.
What really went through my head at the moment was don't flinch.
Yeah.
Because the trainer and tour guide had said to us, if they get on your back, no sudden movements. And I'm squinting. I remember kind of just squinting the whole time through it, like, because the only thing I could do was move my face. And I mean, it went from, it was a rainy, cold day to all of a sudden there's some warmth down my back. And
Hot
it took
tub.
me a minute to go, oh, he's having his moment of urinating down my back. But that was really my response at the time. And then
I'm so impressed that you listened to because our instinct is to freak out, like
to knock them off. You're right.
And
their tails go around your neck,
well, he
and they
wants to
use that as
support
balance.
himself,
Yeah,
right?
they use that as balance. So his tails are around my neck. So really, my response was to, and you know, and we always we say with run, we call it running your R, right? The first thing you need to do kind of is do nothing for just a second.
Just a second.
And just really, what's the event that's going on? But whatever. Do nothing.
Go back to your principles of what the guy said. I
didn't really have time to not do anything, but then yet I was in a point where I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, E plus R equals O.
Yeah. Because you could have screamed like a baby and ran off crying. But you didn't. Good job.
So, do we want to talk about that a little bit today? So you know, True Grit Edge is a mission that we've mentioned before. If you want to go back and listen to some past podcasts, you can learn a little bit more about what True Grit Edge is, and it goes off into some different areas. But we wanted to just hone in today a little bit on Dr. Resnick and his theory. And again, you know, hats off to Tim Kite. Unfortunately, passed away a couple years ago. But Focus 3 is carrying this on with E plus R equals O. And True Grit Edge is also with what Dr. Resnick came up with. We're out there talking about it as well. This great concept. But there's that space between your event and your response, and we call it at True Grit Edge. We call it the wow, right? It's kind of the way of work. And this is where either your wow can either collapse or all stay together. Who you are, your way
Under
of work.
Under pressure and stress.
Is how you do it. Now, we've all had moments. I've had a lot of moments. We've all had moments where our response wasn't great. And a lot of times we respond with, we got to control that event.
You try and get in front of it.
Yep. You try and get in front of it. And you really want to win that space. So we talk about the first thing you need to do is listen. Don't speak. Don't send something right away. Don't react. And that's difficult, isn't it, Camille? But that's not running your R.
Because where you get in fight or flight, you gotta take that pause and go, am I going to work this through? Like, what do I want to become out? Like, who am I? Who do I want to become out of this situation?
Right. Exactly. So number one is just listen for just a second and understand the event. And then you're right. Number two is, who do I want to be? Because I can tell you this all came through a failure of mine, and I didn't really care who I was going to be. I was going to control an event. That's how I used to be. And I think what you have to do is, when you determine who you want to be, is you have to say, no, this is not how I feel. This is not what I think they deserve. This is not that I'm going to get back to that. But this is also to a question that we ask a lot of people that people can't answer, and we usually throw them off. And what's that question? What are your
non-negotiables?
If we came to you and we asked you, what are your non-negotiables right now? Could you answer that? And it's because you don't sit and think about it. So during that moment of who you want to be, you got to think about, well, who's your non-negotiables? Or what are your non-negotiables?
Yeah. Well, and I've been through exercises and mission statement creations and things like that, when you're trying to sort through what your values are and what you want
the words on the wall.
Yeah. But as you're going through there, I think there's times, I listed out values. Some are hard to define, whether you're talking about business or family or religion or anything in between. And it can be a long list. And I don't know that it needs to be that long. Like, I've gone like, well, I want this to be my value, and I want this to be my standard, and I want this, but that doesn't mean maybe what I want. I guess if I'm getting clear, your non-negotiables should be who you are and what you are in any situation, and stamped. Like, that's what it says. It says non-negotiable. I'm not going to negotiate this.
Yeah, and people need to know it. And I think it's okay to ask people. If you would have asked me a few years ago, Cory, what's your non-negotiables? I would have probably just off the top of my head uttered off a bunch of stuff and just uttered, hey, cows. I got cows on the brain. Muttered off of a bunch of stuff that I didn't really know, and I couldn't come back and tell you what they were. So challenge. Go find out what your non-negotiables are. 3-4 things that you're like, I'm not going to negotiate on those things.
In anything. Like when we had Jade Vecchio on, and his number, one thing he wanted people to know about him was his relationship with his Savior. That's a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable. Right? I've had to take and pass ethics tests. I have to have that be a non-negotiable of mine in business.
What's one of your non-negotiables, Camille?
Don't get between me and my family. Go all mother bear on you. Just kidding. I'm really nice, actually. Like my family first, and that we just spend time together, and you can go into that, but ethics, family, Savior, all of those things, like probably my top 3 right there.
I think the one that I have 4 that are pretty burned into me, and you've mentioned a handful of them here. One of the ones is that it's my top one is that honesty and don't mislead people. But I think the one that I have to remember a lot all the time is I don't deal with negativity. Right?
Yeah.
Which is another Tim Kite, Focus 3, they teach it, the no BCD, right? Mm-hmm. You can't blame anybody, you can't complain, and you don't get defensive. Doesn't mean you can't talk about critical things.
Right.
So who do you want to be during the situation in your R? What's the third thing that we teach, Camille, as you're kind of evaluating and running your R?
I think like what is the outcome? What is the outcome you want? And in getting there, make sure that you're acting kind, not nice.
You're not looking for that immediate relief. It's not about winning an argument. It's not the real outcome is, does it align with your standards and your non-negotiables for you, for the relationship and for the team? You can't always control the outcome. You might not be able to control it, but you can influence it based on how you run your R and the things we've talked about.
Well, and it shouldn't be that deep, because you can't. How am I trying to say this? I think sometimes when we focus on the outcome a lot, though, we're trying to create events to get to that outcome. And so this is about things that are getting pressed upon you, and what is the solution you want at the end of it? And I'll say this to a lot of people that if they come to me with problems, I'm like, well, what do you want the end to look like here? What do you want the result to be? What do you want that outcome to be? Is it to get back at that person? Or is it to find a solution? Are you going
to feel better in the end? So you mentioned to get back at that person. One of the things that we don't have in print, but I do feel like it's critical, is during that moment, if it's a situation that someone else has caused, right?
Yeah.
Can you actually, when we go back to who do you want to be? And can you say, hey, I want to treat the golden rule, right? I want to treat them as I'd want to be treated. And when you get to that final step of acting, which is, kind versus nice, is there an opportunity in there for you to serve them?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can sometimes change your mindset as you view an event. Can I serve the event in a way that's going to influence the outcome? What's your thoughts there, Camille?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest answer, because especially if they've created the event, or the hardest, not answer, but the hardest thing to follow at the end is to serve, right? Like if an act of kindness is to help someone grow and help them become a better version of themselves. So in your reaction, are you doing that for that person that's brought this event to you? And part of it may be that in order for them to grow, you need to serve them. So that's a tough concept to get behind, though, because emotions are always raw and real at that moment. And so that's why pause is so key. And sometimes I've needed to pause for a good 24 hours or even a week, because if the emotions are that raw, and you can easily say, like, we're going to talk about this, we're going to get on this, we're going to find a solution for this. That could be your response right then, because we need to put the value into this that it deserves. And in this short, high emotional 30 seconds that I have available, it's not going to be quality. And so being able to express that is tough too. So it's in serving them and being kind, like, it's hard. It's hard to do.
But it can change your heart. It can turn their heart too. And again, it's not about deceiving anybody to an outcome, but it's being truth. And people are going to know. The other thing too that it comes down to, when you run your R every time, in those small moments and in the big ones, it's kind of when it can cost you something. And so you got to be careful. But people will start to expect it from you, that you're steady, you're predictable, and that's going to create that trust, right? And consistency is your wow. I think it's your credibility. If we were to say, okay, we asked what your non-negotiables are. WOW stands for way of work. It can go for you personally or an organization. It's your operating system. I think one of the biggest wow factors, if someone could say about me, I could say, like, okay, I'm getting it right. And I'm not there yet, but he's consistent. Mm-hmm. When we go to Cory, we know what we're going to get. In most cases, he's probably going to make you laugh. He's going to make light of something. But when I really need it, and that's one of the things that I love about Camille, is that she's super consistent. And even when things are down, you're going to get met with love and respect. But she's going to be kind. She's not going to be nice, but she will be super
Mama
kind.
bear.
She'll be super kind.
No. Okay.
Camille, as we kind of, thanks everybody for taking a few minutes with us. E+ articles though is important. And again, I've mentioned it a few times, just want to make sure we give credit where credit is due to those that came up with this. And if you don't know about E+ articles, go research it.
Yeah.
Go understand it. And it will change your view on so many things. And so, it's a game changer. Mm-hmm. And I am so blessed that Tim Kite, back in 2012, 2013, brought this forward to so many of us. And it's been a game changer. Camille, again, congratulations on 1 year.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so, but if we could find that picture and put it out there, I think that would be a game changer.
The picture of the monkey and me does exist, and the person that has that in their phone, I have asked them, man code, cowboy code, that goes nowhere.
Oh.
Nowhere.
We'll see if I can convince somebody with a...
Are you going to create an event? Are you going to create an event here, Camille, that I'm going to have to run my R with?
Well, I think he'll sell. I don't think his non-negotiable is to not sell that, or not share. I shouldn't say sell. Share that video. So I don't think it'll be too hard to talk him out of it with a plate of cookies.
I'm texting him right now. If Camille contacts you about the picture, do not respond.
No. It's for the good of the listener, Cory. You just talked about the listener. It's for the good of the listener.
Thank you, listener. Thank you, listener. All right, Camille, congratulations on 1 year.
Say, we saw some amazing scenery while we were there, but nothing beats our Idaho sunset. So go enjoy those Idaho sunsets. Have a great day.
Enjoy the sunset wherever you are. Thank you, everybody.